Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we are going to be doing our playoffs predictions for Master Santiago. Before we actually get into these predictions, though, we'll take a look at what I predicted for the Swiss stage. And I went 3 for 4, but, and this is it's not a huge but, it's a small but. When I was choosing T1 over Gentlemates here, I specifically said how originally I picked Gentlemates, but I switched to T1 and I didn't really have a reasoning for it. It was just kind of like a in the heat of the moment reason. And if we go back to my Santiago tier list, you can see that I put T1 in out in Swiss and I had Gentlemates making it to playoffs. But I did have them bomb out of playoffs. Now, my opinions have changed quite a lot since then, so let's get right into the playoffs and talk about that. Right off the bat, instead of having General Mates go out, bomb out, I think that they're gonna win their first game against Nongshim. Like they're coming in hot. You know, they had a really good Swiss stage. Nongshim haven't played in a really long time. Um, that gives them some benefits because they have more footage on the player on the other teams. But General Mates have warmed up. You know, it might take Nongshim a map or two to really warm up and get back their heads back into the game. So I think that General Mates are actually going to take this first match. Now, as for G2 versus All Gamers, we kind of already saw the result of this game based on the placements of the Chinese teams in Swiss stage. I think that China overall, number one seed included, is just kind of at a lower level than the rest of the regions, which is kind of surprising because, you know, EDG won Champs 2024. We thought, like, oh, okay, China have caught up, right? And last year they looked pretty good. Wolves made it to Toronto. XLG looked pretty strong in their international performances. But in this Swiss stage, ADG and XLG looked really rough. There was a 13-1 against, I think, ADG. It might have been XLG, I don't remember. And so, yeah, All Gamers are the one seed from their region, but it's not a very good region. So, like, the general level of play that they've been beating has been worse than all the other regions, I'd say. So I'm going to go for G2 over All Gamers here. Now we've got Furia versus Paper Rex, which is really strange because, like, we haven't, well, one, we haven't seen Furia play in a really long time, just like Nongshim. Um, and we also haven't seen them lose yet. So it's like we don't really have like a floor for them. We don't really have a ceiling either. Like we haven't seen them hit the highest of highs. For their team, they've hit the highest of highs in winning kickoff, right? But we haven't seen how they deal with losing and being down in a map. So I'm gonna go for Paper Rex here, even though Furia, I wouldn't be so like totally surprised if Furia beat Paper Rex, but Paper Rex have looked really strong coming out of the Swiss stage. Forsaken is going crazy. Envy has warmed up since kickoff. His performances in the Swiss stage were really good. So I'm gonna go for Paper Rex. Also, I'm just kind of a Paper Rex fan, so whatever. Then we got BBL versus NRG. This is another kind of interesting matchup because NRG are one of the only teams that have stuck to the old single duelist meta, right? And BBL have embraced the meta with open arms, double duelists on every single map, you know, but they're also kind of clinging to the old meta in that they still play Sentinels. Kraven on Cypher is specifically. And they're like the only team that still plays like a Sentinel on several maps. So it's kind of interesting. We've got like the old champs meta versus like a conglomeration of the new meta with a Sentinel, which might be really strong because against double duelists, Cypher trips against Neons are going to be really strong, you know. We've seen a lot of Neon. The only thing is, if they're going against a Yoru Waylay, the Cypher's not very strong because, you know, Waylay can just dash over it. Yoru can TP past it. So we'll have to kind of see how it goes. But NRG have been playing a lot of Mata Neon, so I think that BBL are actually going to take this match. Then we got Gentle Mates versus G2 Esports. I think that I think that G2 are probably going to take this game. Um, I'm not certain, right? Gentle Mates, though, I wouldn't be surprised if Gentle Mates won, but they don't have as much experience on the international stage. All of G2's players have been on the international stage multiple times, except for I guess Baby Bay, but like he's kind of a veteran in the game. He's been around. Um, so I expected them to just have better nerves, better vibes than Gentle Mates. Stark Show, of course, has won champs before, but all the other players have never made it to an international before. Um, they're probably going to be a little jittery, and Stark Show himself hasn't been in this position in 5 years, so he might feel some pressure of trying to perform to that peak from Ascend days. So I'm gonna go for G2. Then for Paper X versus BBL, which is kind of strange. Like Paper X also sometimes plays Sentinels. They've been playing a lot of Veto. Shaken's Veto had looked okay, like not incredible. Um, and then BBL of course plays Cypher, and BBL are like they're BBL are like the Paper X of EMEA, right? They play super fast paced. They're running it down, just out aiming everyone. So this is going to be a really entertaining game. I'm going to go for Paper X solely on my belief in Forsaken. Forsaken has looked incredible. I'm a huge fan of Paper X. I just want them to win. This is me manifesting their win. Moving down to Nongshim versus All Gamers, I'm gonna go for Nongshim. Like I said, I don't think All Gamers, even though they're one seed, I don't think that they look very strong. Um, Going on to Furia versus NRG. This is kind of a lose-lose situation for me. I've got two NRG players in my VFL, and I have Artscene in my VFL. I didn't make a video on it because I didn't think anyone would really care. But because of that, I'm gonna say NRG win because I have enough belief in them to put two of their players in my VFL. I really don't want this match to happen. I almost want Furia. Well, no, I have two Paper X players in my VFL too, so I want Paper X to win. But I don't want NRG to lose. Just that's all I have to say. I want NRG to win against BBL. I don't think that they're going to. Next up, we've got BBL versus Nongshim. Um, Very similar styles of play. Although Nongshim are like so only playing Neon. Danby Neon is really good. Um, I This is a coin flip for me generally. I'm gonna go for Nongshim. I don't have any reasoning. I just think that they're gonna win. Gentle Mates versus NRG. Um, I'm probably gonna go for NRG here. I really like Gentle Mates, but they rely on Martine, right? If Martine doesn't show up in a map, they lose that map. And I think that's a lot of pressure to put on one player. And I think that the pressure might get to him, you know? I hope it doesn't. I think Gentle Mates are awesome. They're really entertaining to watch, but I'm going to go for NRG here. Then we have G2 versus Paper X. You can't get away from this game. They always play every single time. And this time around, I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna go for Paper X. I both like G2 and Paper X. These are probably like my two favorite teams. Um, I'm gonna go for Paper X though, but I really don't know. I really don't know. Okay, let's go to lower final or lower round three. Sorry, Nongshim versus NRG. I think this is where NRG. Do I really think? Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna go for RG. I don't know. This is purely vibes based, man. I don't know what to tell you. I think that Nongshim are kind of a chaotic team, and if they're running into NRG are like the new G2, where they're very disciplined. You know, very they play more slowly than other teams. G2 have upped the pace. They've embraced the double duelist meta. Um, NRG against Nongshim. It could go either way, but I'm going to say NRG have that experience to put Nongshin down. And then moving on to G2 versus NRG, another regional matchup. NRG have gotten both of their regional matchups in this, the way that I've picked. And I'm probably going to go for G2 because unless NRG make a change, I think that the previous meta is probably just not as good as the double duelist meta right now. And G2 have been playing some random shit, you know, like Jogamo on ISO, Jogamo on Phoenix, Baby Bay on Yoru, Waylay, whatever. It's really interesting and it's working and it's catching people off guard. So I'm gonna go for G2 here. They're really hard to, I think, anti-strat right now. And then we get the grand final rematch, G2 versus Paper Rex. Do I think that G2 win it this time? Do I? Do I? I'm going to say, is this finally the time for G2? They've made it to so many events. They made it to the grand final last first Masters. I'm gonna say G2 finally lift an international trophy. And that's my pick'ems. So I've got G2 winning, Paper X second, NRG third. It's a very America's heavy. Maybe I have a little bit of America's bias. I don't know, whatever. Um, but that's my pick'ems. I'm gonna click save. And let's see what happens. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.